Hey there, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is the Aiersi SU-0044-TA Concert Ukulele. It has a solid spruce top and laminate zebra wood back and sides. Now, for complete transparency, this plus 3 other ukuleles were sent to me by Aiersi to review, and the only thing that I had to pay after a complete mess up with customs was a customs fee and some additional handling charges from UPS. There were also at one point over $200 of charges from UPS that UPS very thankfully removed from the charges after several phone calls back and forth. Now, these also arrived with a t-shirt that unfortunately I cannot wear. If you check out Rich Davis's channel, and when he's talking about Aiersi ukuleles, he's wearing that. Unfortunately, it is an extra large, but it's an extra large in a Chinese size. And even though I'm down to a size large shirt, I can't fit into it. So unfortunately, I cannot wear the Aiersi t-shirt with the video. So as you're watching this video, please keep in mind that this ukulele was sent to me with the intention of having it reviewed and not a whole lot of money out of my own pocket to buy and have these ukuleles to review. So this video will be marked as a paid promotion for that reason. All right, so what about this instrument? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to first of all look at some subjective categories that I look at with all ukuleles. Then we will go and take a look at the specifications, and then I'll summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating out of 5 possible ukuleles. So let's begin with cost. This sells for $139 shipped from Aiersi, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about availability. So for a solid top ukulele with laminate back and sides, that is a good value. Good value. Are there better values? Probably a couple, but in the big scheme of things, it is a good value. Now, you will also get a very light gig bag with this. This one, as shipped, did not come with a gig bag, so I can't speak to the quality of the gig bag, but if it's like Aiersi's other gig bags, you're going to want a different gig bag. And there are plenty to choose from that aren't that expensive, and by the time that you add a better gig bag to this instrument, probably another set of strings as well, probably strap buttons. If you add those few things up, you're still going to be under the price of a solid top ukulele of this quality from pretty much everybody else, except for a couple similar shipping from China brands directly that are available either on Amazon or eBay. So all that said, really a good value. Now, how about the build quality? Overall, it's really well done. Now, this one was sent to me directly from Aiersi, so it could have been handpicked. Overall, the quality is very good. The spruce is solid spruce, but it's decent. You can see a slight grain pattern. Is it going to be AAA grade spruce you'd have in a Taylor guitar? The answer is no. But it is solid spruce, and it is a nice piece of wood with some nice qualities in it, some nice grain work. Zebra wood, we'll talk about that when we get to appearance. Very functional as a laminate tone wood for back and sides. And you get your traditional 3-piece neck and a little bit of that zebra wood on the top for the headstock. So it's cleanly built. You have an abalone purfling there. You have ABS binding. You also have a couple strips of black purfling as well. You have an abalone rosette, and a nicely shaped, well done pin bridge. The frets are well maintained, not sharp fret ends that you can see from time to time. Even with some of my other Aiersis that I've brought in, the lower price ones from like eBay, sometimes have sharp fret ends. There's nothing that I have to worry about there. The fretboard appears to be in really good condition. So overall, the build quality on the outside is quite good. How about on the inside? So let's take a look. All right, let's go inside the Aiersi here. Looking at the lower bout, you can see the notch kerfing. You can see sort of the fan bracing. You can see a little bit of glue here and there, like on the bottom. You can see that there is definitely a tail block. There's the bridge plate. You can see some glue here and there. I think it's kind of neat how the bracing is notched to be over that. Now let's take a look at the upper bout. Again, you can see, there's the horizontal bracing, but you can see a little bit of glue mess. But generally, it's a pretty clean build. Yeah, there is the neck block up there and another look there. So that's our quick look on the inside of a pretty clean Aiersi Concert Ukulele. All right, so we're back. Yeah, there are a couple spots where you can see some glue, but in general, that's a very, very clean build, better than brands that cost far more. So overall, very pleased with the quality of this ukulele. All right, now let's talk about appearance. Ultimately, there are a couple things to be aware of. First of all, do you like the pale face of the spruce? If not, a spruce top ukulele is probably not for you. More so for me is the choice of this. And I know that I'm impacted by other reviewers. I know that I'm impacted by my own experience. From Caramel, we have a set of 40 of these, and actually even more than that have been distributed to some of the other schools in our district, of zebrawood concert ukuleles. So to me, zebrawood has a very cost-effective, inexpensive look. Dare I say, cheap. So, I don't know. It's not an unattractive wood, but it has grown to mean cheap to me. So I would rather see this instrument with some other back and side laminate. Maybe something darker, maybe something in the ebony range, maybe something in even a laminate acacia, or even a walnut pattern would appeal to me more than the zebra would. So personally, I would rather see this sold with a different laminate top layer than the zebra would. The other thing that really I don't like is the fact that this Aiersi sticker, the Aiersi logo is fine, but it's just a sticker. And yes, this is done by other companies, including Martin. My Martin S1 just has a Martin sticker on the top. That that just looks cheap. And when you have an instrument that's so nice overall, with so much potential, again, maybe different laminate choice, and that, then quite honestly, if you could fix those couple of things, those are the two biggest eyesores for me on this instrument. Would I avoid this instrument because of the zebra wood? Well, the zebra wood didn't bother me. No, I wouldn't avoid it at all, but I would not buy this model just based on the laminate that's being used. And just, again, I realize that it's just laminate, but this isn't attracted to me. It means something else. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to mean that for you, but that is what it means for me. Now, what else could make this instrument more attractive in terms of appearance? Well, three things. I'd like to see it have strap buttons. I would like to see it come in a gloss version. I've found that I'm not such a big fan of sort of the matte or flat finish on an ukulele. I like a gloss finish. That's just me. And then I would, again, like to see a better gig bag come with it too. That's probably more in the area of value, but why not? Charge a few more dollars and include a nicer gig bag. That's what I would suggest, especially as you're selling a solid spruce top ukulele. Now, in terms of availability, they are available, but you're going to have to wait for them. I do not think that these are on eBay. I do not think that these are on Amazon. If you want one of these right now, you have to go to Aiersi's website, aiersimusic.com, and you'll see it there. And the problem with that is that it has to come from China then. And at the current time, from what I'm hearing, is that's a month to a little bit longer than a month for a lot of shipping. So if you want one of these, you just can't go right out to your local music store and buy one. You actually have to wait for it to ship to you. And that's really the only negative. Yes, they're available. Yes, they're available at this price point, but you're going to have to wait a little bit before it arrives. Now, in terms of playability, it's a 35 millimeter nut. So if you have large hands, you're not going to probably like that. It has very standard spacing for a 35mm nut. The neck is a very typical import ukulele with a round shape, so sort of a chunky neck. And again, for many people that don't like smaller necks, that isn't going to work for you. However, if you're used to playing a 35mm nut, no problem at all. And action is very good on this. So overall, for a 35mm nut import, plays very well, and it's just basically what you'd expect and hope for from sort of that standard import 35mm nut ukulele. Now, in terms of sound quality overall, it's pretty good. There is sustain. It's a balanced sound, it's punchy and it's loud, but it also tends to be warmer. And I really think that the warmer part is more about the string choice, which are Aquila Nile Guts. That's what it's labeled as at the very least. I would try fluorocarbons on here, maybe a Worth Brown, because perhaps a clear fluorocarbon is going to be too piercing on it. So I would try maybe a Worth Brown set on here, and I think you might get a little more sparkle to the sound. Overall, right now, it's sort of warmer than it is brighter. And we always think of spruce as having a bright sound, and it does have that bright characteristic, but it really is muted, I think, by the laminate and the string choice. But there are harmonics, there is sustain. One of the things I do in these videos is I let you see what I'm hearing. So I use the app Tonal Energy Tuner to play generally the C chord on a GCA instrument and let you see what's happening with the harmonic series. So let's do that. Hey, very nice. This time, Tonal Energy Tuner did actually capture the whole spectrum of the sound. Sometimes I play into it and it doesn't catch the high frequencies, but you can see that there are harmonics popping out at the end. But if you also look as I'm playing there, there's a lot happening on the low end, and I think that's why I feel like it's really a warm sound. So I would personally, but again, remember my preference is very clear bell-like ukulele sound. So with that in mind, I would try, I think, Worth Brown strings. I think that would change the character a little bit. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to say, which is I also have with me right here my Flight Victoria concert. Very different price point for instruments, but a lot of similarities here. So the Victoria, I believe, has laminate acacia back and sides, but a spruce top as well, a little higher quality spruce top, a few more features, although not a pin bridge. But what I wanted to show you is that the sound characteristics, and I'm still running the stock flight strings, I believe, on this one. The sound characteristics are very similar between these two instruments at two different price points. Now, granted, with the Victoria, you get a much nicer gig bag, you are getting a pickup, and you're getting that next level of quality control overall, but the sound in general is very similar. So here is the Aiersi. And here is the Victoria. Now, the Victoria is definitely a little more refined in its sound than is the Aiersi, but it's awfully close. And if you're just looking for that sort of spruce top neck sound, this is not a bad choice if you don't mind the zebra wood. All right, now that we've talked about those subjective categories, let's get into the specifications. It is a concert ukulele, and the scale length is a little shorter than 15 inches. It's 14.875 inches from nut to saddle. It has 18 frets, 14 to the body. It does have side position markers, which is nice, and it is a traditional double-bowed ukulele. The soundboard is solid spruce, and the back and sides are laminate zebra wood. The fretboard is made from rosewood and is not radiused. It's a flat fretboard, which is what you'd expect. And the bridge is a pin bridge, also made of rosewood. The nut and saddle here are made of bone, and you do have a compensated saddle. The finish is sort of a flat or matte finish, and I personally would like a gloss with a spruce top, personally. It is 24.25 inches long from tip to tail. I think a little bit because of that little bump there on the headstock. And it weighs 1 pound, 5 ounces, so it's very light and it is very well balanced. It has closed sealed geared tuners, and the action is very good. The action at the first fret is less than 0.5 millimeters, and the action at the 12th fret is 2.5 millimeters, so it's very easy to play. It might even be more so with like a fluorocarbon string if you feel like the Aquila strings are a little harder to press. The nut width is 34.36 millimeters, so it is, approaching that 35 millimeter. Again, people with large hands may not like that. The string spacing at the first fret is 8.78 millimeters between each string at the first fret, which is 28.06 millimeters G to A. So pretty standard spacing for a 35 millimeter nut ukulele. The other thing I measure is the depth of the neck at the third fret. This measuring can be a little misleading, in particular if the shape of the neck is more like a D rather than a C, but this one is C-shaped, and it is 21.19 millimeters from the top of the strings at the third fret to the bottom of the neck. So that's pretty chunky. It's a pretty baseball bat-like, or half of a baseball bat neck, along with a 35 millimeter nut. And those are the specifications for the instrument. So let's summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. Again, this instrument was sent to me with 3 others by Aiersi for review purposes, and all I had to pay were some customs charges and some special handling fees from UPS to get these. So Aiersi is a company that I have liked for a while. I love their soprano pineapple, love it. They've been making affordable, higher quality instruments for some time. I mean, quality that goes well beyond the price point. This is getting more towards standard pricing on this model with a solid spruce top and a laminate back and sides, but a bunch of features on the instrument. So for $139, it's a good value, but it's starting to approach the cost of other ukulele manufacturers, and perhaps that's the eventual goal of a company, is to be able to price your instrument to the point that you're making decent profit and not just breaking even or above breaking even for your costs. So with that in mind, if you buy one of these, there's really just a couple big questions for you. The first is, do you like zebra wood? If you don't like zebra wood, then this isn't the instrument for you. Do you like a spruce top? I actually am more partial to cedar tops. But if you like a solid spruce top, well, this might be an instrument that's worth checking out. It does have, again, a lot of really nice features. I would personally like to see a gloss version. I'd like to see a version with a different choice of laminate. I'd like to see them change this from the sticker to something else. I'd like to see strap buttons added, and I'd like to see a better gig bag included. Still, it is a affordable, solid top, solid spruce top ukulele, and it plays well. It sounds better than its price, and I would definitely recommend it. The big challenge is, if you want one of these, you're going to have to wait for it to ship, so hopefully you have another ukulele in that time. Would I get one of these to a beginner? Sure, absolutely. Would I buy one of these as a second or a third instrument? Sure, absolutely. No qualms about doing that, but I think, again, I would also just put on different strings, and I think I would try and start with Worth Browns. That's where I would start with. All right, so what rating would I give it? Well, for me, and again, this is subjective, so remember, anything above a 3 is something that you can probably buy with confidence, in my mind. I would give this one 4 out of 5. It's really close to like a 4.5 out of 5. And what are the things that are going to keep it from that 5? First of all, the gig bag. You're going to have to buy a different gig bag. Second, for me, is the choice of the zebra wood as a laminate. It doesn't really impact the instrument so much, but it's just a personal thing. And again, I wouldn't buy this one because of that. And again, not because it's a bad laminate, it just doesn't appeal to me personally. And those two things alone probably would keep that at a 4 for me. That's still a pretty good rating, especially for a $139 instrument. I want to thank Aiersi for arranging to send these to me. And I want to thank you for joining me on this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.